Welcome, folks. Thanks for attending. My name is Joe Muccioli. I'm the Artistic Director for the Jazz Arts Project, nonprofit organization, which for almost 15 years has been presenting and honoring jazz with world-class concerts and high-level education programs. I'm going to introduce our guest in just a minute, but first things first. Thank you to all our donors and supporters and sponsors. Our platinum presenting partner is Ocean First Bank, with support from Monmouth Arts and from you, our supporting members. So a heartfelt thank you, thank you, thank you. It was the late 16th century when the composer, organist, and inveterate Rococo bluesman Giovanni Gabrieli ushered in a shift from the Renaissance to the Baroque idioms. In his music, we can see the formalization of what we now refer to as the musical technique call and response. It is the antiphonal treatment of bits of melody being tossed back and forth like musical pong. That technique may have dated back to early hominids in chant and prehistoric vocalese, but here it is first formalized in notated form for performance. Later, in sub-Saharan African cultures, call and response was a pervasive pattern of democratic participation in public gatherings discussing civic affairs, in religious rituals, and in vocal and instrumental musical expression.
You turn around, dig a hole in the ground. Oh, Emma, ho. Oh, Emma, ho. You turn around, dig a hole in the ground. Oh, Emma, ho. Say, Emma, you from the country. Oh, Emma.
Enslaved Africans brought call and response music with them to the New World, and it has subsequently been transmitted over the centuries in various forms. From the yells, hollers, and chants in the field, it gave rise to generations of musical genres: spirituals, gospel, blues, rock and roll, funk, and even today's hip-hop. Gospel music would not have evolved apart from the artists who felt the need to hear and express something beyond the ecclesiastical music that preceded them. Thomas Dorsey, no, not Tommy Dorsey, Thomas Andrew Dorsey, was an African-American blues musician and composer turned Christian evangelist, born in 1899 at the cusp of the 20th century. It was his influence and his music in the 1930s that spawned a movement popularizing gospel blues throughout black churches in the United States, which in turn influenced American music and many parts of society at large. From then on, countless popular musicians were influenced by the gospel tradition, from Mahalia Jackson to Aretha Franklin, from Elvis Presley to Jerry Lee Lewis, from Ray Charles to, Chance the Rapper, to say nothing of artists, poets, and authors throughout the ensuing years. Many jazz musicians look toward their roots and incorporate that spirituality and the deep sensibilities into their music. Such is the case with our special guest tonight. Mark Gross credits his prolific sound to the rich appreciation for gospel music that resounded through his parents' Baltimore home. After developing his interest in classical music at the Baltimore School for the Arts, he studied at Howard University and then at Berklee College of Music, graduating with a BA in performance. Ever since then, Mark set out on a path and found himself touring the world, performing and recording with the best of the best, his fellow pacesetters in jazz music. People like Buster Williams, Delfeayo Marsalis, Dizzy Gillespie, Philip Horner, Nat Adderley, Dave Holland, Mulgrew Miller, Nicholas Payton, Nancy Wilson, James Moody, Jimmy Heath, John Lee, Village Vanguard Jazz Orchestra, Tom Harrell Big Band, the Duke Ellington Orchestra, Frank Foster and the Loud Minority, Charles Mingus Big Band, Freddie Hubbard, Donald Harrison, Mark Whitfield, Joe Dukes, Captain Jack McDuff, Joe Chambers, Neil Smith, Cyrus Chestnut, Regina Carter, Lionel Hampton, Stefan Harris, Walter Booker, Jimmy Cobb, Don Braden, Vince Gardner, Leonora Zanzali Helm, Marilyn Saunders, Sepia, Jan Parker, just to name a few. Wow. From the world's most prestigious jazz venues and festivals to celebrated and critically acclaimed recordings, including 2 Grammy Award-winning projects, to Broadway stages like Five Guys Named Mo, Cat and the Kings, Swing, and After Dark, to the TV specials and motion pictures, Malcolm X, Boardwalk Empire, Annie, to the respect as a dedicated educator, like Rutgers University and Jazz for Teens program at NJPAC, and a battery of his own recordings and projects, Mark Gross holds down the fort among the finest world-class musicians of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mark Gross.
Wow. Who is this guy? I want to meet him myself. What a great intro. Thank you.
That's kind of your special gift for being on the show, these great wonderful intros. Kind of look at your life.
Yeah. One of my great colleagues, Andy Farber, I saw he chatted. He's like, I need to get a better press agent. Me too, Farber. I'm hiring these guys. But thank you. I'm so delighted to be here.
Mark, it was one of those introductions that seems like it should be followed with found dead in his New Jersey home.
Whoa.
Because it was one of those things that mentioned everything you've ever done. Yeah, well, almost everything.
More to come.
Joe, are you there?
Okay, Andy, on that note, I just figured out I could unmute myself. And also, I'm trying to figure out how to get my camera on. So bear with me and talk amongst yourselves. You've been doing great so far.
Well, again, I want to say thank you, a huge thank you to all that are a part of this wonderful, even before having me here, what a wonderful thing you all have created here, Mondays with Mooche. And talking with Joe, I did get a chance to look at some of the other interviews that were being done, that had been done. And wow, fantastic. So again, I'm delighted to be amongst the privileged.
Well, we are delighted to have you here.
Oh,
and I think I finally got my camera worked out.
There you go.
I couldn't get my ears worked out because somehow I had to plug this in. Everything else wasn't working. Tonight's one of those days. Is it a full moon or something? Mark, you're looking good, man.
I shaved and, I took my suit out of the cleaner bag and here I am.
There you go. Is that your home studio there?
It is. This is my world. This is where all the magic happens.
There you go. We had talked a little bit earlier, and you have a wonderful program over there at NJPAC, and we have our own program here called the Jazz Arts Academy, and apparently we've sent you a couple of students in the past year or so.
Yeah, and thank you so much for that. You sent me creme de la creme of your students.
Well, of course, that we only have creme de la creme.
Yeah, Ben Faguli and Paul Reinhold. I see Ben there. Hey, Ben, how
Ben's
are
here,
you?
yeah.
Yeah. And I'll just quickly say about those two students, as well as a lot of the students that we serve, and I'm sure you are in that same vein of really trying to help amplify what they bring to the table. So, in a program such as what we have, and I'm sure, again, echoing, I'm sure, the mission of what you do, there's so many talented students throughout Newark and as well as New Jersey as a state that are particularly now that we're in this this virtual world that we've been kind of thrown into now, and figuring out how to best continue our programs in a virtual model, in which case we've been able to do so successfully, but still offer these students opportunities for advancement of not only in their own development, but in their future endeavors. So we've been very, very fortunate to be able to assist and help both Paul and Ben. And Ben, I will say, has been offered a full 4-year scholarship to my alma mater, Berkeley. So, Ben, we're very proud of you. Absolutely. We can all give the
absolutely. Here,
Are
here.
you kidding?
When did that happen?
And one of the reasons I
news?
say that is because we all know how much, absolutely, how much of a institutions are costing these days. It's like you graduate from a 4-year institution, and not just an institution such as Berkeley, but I'll use it as the example. And it's nothing to graduate if you're not afforded opportunities of financial assistance or scholarship. You come out with $250,000 in debt, and I think that's something that needs to be addressed on a higher level. But again, I'm fortunate in that I've been very instrumental in forming partnerships with different schools, such as at Berkeley, to form a pipeline so that students could be afforded those opportunities. And Joe, we talked about trying to form an alliance of a pipeline of sorts with our respective programs.
Yes, we did. I'm looking forward to that. I think this is going to be something very special.
Yep.
All around the state of New Jersey. In fact, with our two programs.
Absolutely.
And you know, you're talking about $250,000 to go to college these years. You know, you're going to need every one of those big, high-paying jazz gigs to pay for it, right?
Yeah, and didn't see that one coming.
I've been waiting to try that.
Yeah, well, good timing too.
Ben, that was for you.
Nice.
So you've had quite the career as a performer. Never mind educator. Which, by the way, you know, that's part of something we share as a philosophy to education, in that you know, as an artist, you're a performer. You've come a certain distance in your career, and that's what you share with your students, right? Yeah. You're not sharing just an educational theory. You're sharing real life practical experience that you've gained for yourself.
Absolutely. And you know, when I was a student, through the experience of learning from different teachers, I found that every good musician or practitioner is not necessarily a good teacher. And then every teacher doesn't bring that same experience of being afforded opportunities of being a good practitioner. But when you get the two that magically come together, and for me, just to highlight a couple of those, one was at Berkeley, a guy by the name of Bill Pierce, who we all know, great, played with Tony Williams, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. And then my other saxophone teacher, Joe Viola. When you get a person who can bring their experiences of being afforded opportunities such as I've been afforded, but with the understanding of how to impart that information to a student so that they get it. You know, it's not like I want to walk into a classroom and say, here's my resume, look at what I've done, you know, pat me on the back. No, what I want them to do is to look at the experiences and understand, just from either how I'm talking about it, or the passion of how I'm talking about things, and be able to understand how that can connect with something that they're doing and help for them to grow. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And we all know that, of course, you know, the fact a good performer, a good artist, is going to learn as much from the students as he's going to impart to them.
That's right.
So it goes both ways, and it's a really very special kind of symbiosis that I'm not sure exists in many other fields. Yeah, I may be wrong, but it's a very special thing.
It is. It really is.
So, tell me, do you have any live in-person actual gigs coming up?
I was, and again to the audience, I was talking to Joe earlier. I can count on one hand how many gigs I've had since March. Well, let me back up. So I'm currently doing a Broadway show called Ain't Too Proud: The Life and Times of the Temptations. Wow. And with that show, I left the show on March the 12th to go on tour with my quartet. We were touring Europe and Russia. So I left on, after, figuring out, I knew what was going on, and I hesitantly took the band out. So March 13th, we bought a flight to go to Russia. 6 days into the tour, actually, in fact, the day after I left, I get a text from one of my fellow musicians saying that the show had closed and they shut down the theaters, blah, blah, blah. 6 days after that, I'm getting text from my wife and others saying, you need to come home.
Did you get stuck in Russia?
So check this out. I called the Russian embassy in Moscow and trying to find out what was going on, the U.S. embassy in Moscow. And they told me, they says, well, we're at the highest alert we've ever been for U.S. Foreign travelers, and we advise you to return home immediately or make plans to stay where you are for any indefinite period of time. And we can't help you. So needless to say, my next phone call was the airline. I was like, rebook my flight for tomorrow. And I told the guys, we're going home. So saying that to say, I got back home on the 18th, and since the 18th or 19th, and since then, I think I've had 3 or 4 gigs live. And one is actually one coming up. I'm doing what I do every year, an annual thing at my hometown, a Thanksgiving gig, but it's going to be a live stream gig.
Yeah.
But most things, has been, which I'm sure a lot of the musicians on the call, a lot of collaborative things. You record and video yourself. I send it to you, Joe. You put it with the whole band, and then boom, we throw that up as a gig, as a performance. Yeah.
Sure, of course. We're exploring that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
But had you not been able to get a flight, we could have had this Zoom call from Russia.
No, I prefer it from Jersey.
You might have still been there.
No, this is working out really good for me right now. So.
We're glad. Of course, we're glad to have you back here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
We have a couple of cuts I sent to Melissa. I wonder if can let people stand by on another little technical issue here. Where am I? There. Okay. Melissa, you have those links?
Yes.
Okay. Shall we? You want to do the first one? It starts at
Yep.
Towards the end there.
Yep.
This is the Central Jersey Festival, Mark.
Oh yeah. And again, those musicians, we all know. On piano, Brandon McCune.
Brandon McCune is our guy, man. He's our principal instructor.
You got a gold mine with that guy.
Yeah, we know.
Mark Abruski on bass and Corey Rawls on drums.
There you go.
Big P. Yeah.
Yeah, I was killing.
Oh, thank
nice,
you.
Man.
Yeah.
You know, you played a couple of times with the Red Bank Jazz Orchestra down here at some of our concerts, I think.
Yeah,
and
man.
I think you may have been subbing for either Bruce Williams or Andy Farber.
One of the two.
One of the two, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's here? Andy's here, and I noticed, we got a few buddies, great musicians that signed in. I'm just want to go through, and of course, Andy Farber. We talked to him a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We got
great lead trumpet there, Sean Edmonds.
The great Sean Edmonds is also
Doctor
Bank Jazz Orchestra.
Yeah. What's up, Gross?
How are you, man?
Edmonds.
Good, man.
This is one of the finest trumpet players around, folks.
No question.
And
just kind of a little footnote on a lot of the Broadway shows that I've done, as well as just gigs in general. I participated with Andy as well as Sean. One of the shows, Andy, who was the music director of sorts, he was kind of music director. He didn't get the billing for it.
Yeah,
but
I got you.
Well, after midnight, he really assembled a great band. He and Wynton Marsalis put this unbelievable band together.
Yep.
And we had a wonderful show. And currently, Sean, who's done a lot of stuff on Broadway as well, we're both currently doing the Ain't Too Proud show together. So,
great.
My sections.
Is it too stupid for me to plug that we'll have a new album coming out in a few months next year with the After Midnight Band with Mark Gross and Sean is on it also.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
That's great. Yeah, Andy was a guest on one of our Monday shows, and we did talk a bit about the After Midnight show. And I saw that show on Broadway, and man, it was fantastic.
Yeah, it really was.
That's what I've heard. I never saw it from the proper side.
Yeah, nor did I.
I got to tell you, I was on a cruise, and the entertainment on that cruise was, in fact, After Midnight, but it just wasn't as good. Nearly.
No.
It was a weird.
Anytime you put a Broadway show on a cruise ship, no disrespect to cruise ships. No.
If it was just as good, we'd be really in trouble.
There you go.
Oh, I see Nick Schubel and the company.
I was going to say, I was the next one. We also have Nick Schubel and family, it looks like.
Leoniki, how's your daughter? There she is. I miss you, Leoniki.
Come on, unmute yourself, Nick. Say hello.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hi, Andy. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Nick. How are you, man?
Man, that clip you sounded fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic. Oh my God.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Miss playing with you too, man.
I know.
And that bad organist back there on the couch.
There you go.
For folks who may not know, of course, Nick is a wonderful drummer, but his daughter, she's just a fantastic young organist, pianist. I'm sure you all know her, but if you don't, check her out, Lil Nikki.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you kidding? Thank you.
Leo has been a guest of ours. We've had her. You guys played at the summer in the park, Jazz in the Park, and also we did a talk and jazz session a year, 2 years ago, maybe something like that. So good to see you guys. It looks like this is like a Norman Rockwell family picture right there.
That's great.
Yeah, I gotta do this. I'll do that for myself.
Yeah. Gotta get the drummer back in there.
I gotta get the dog in the picture too.
Oh, there you go.
Right,
Nick. If you remember the first time I went to your house, you had a dog that was 106 years old and couldn't back up.
Yeah.
Is that in real years or dog years?
I'm not sure.
Couldn't back up.
Yeah, couldn't go in reverse.
That's true. That's true.
I got
this dog. It couldn't bark either. It went whoo.
I'm gonna say I see my good friend Bob there. Bob, how are you, Bob McGee?
Hi, Bob.
Unmute yourself, Bob. Unmute yourself.
I should mute me.
It's one of them buttons.
It may take Bob a second to find it.
It'll happen.
Yeah. But good to see you, Bob.
There it is. Looks like it's off now.
Oh, there you go. You're unmuted.
We still can't hear him.
Hi, Bob. I used to work with Bob over at WBGO. He was one of my great volunteers.
Really?
Yeah. Me and Bob used to hang a lot.
Wow, this is like old home week.
Oh, we'll let Bob figure it out over there.
The Garden was wonderful. Mark Rose played a wonderful couple of sets of Jazz in the Garden a year or two ago.
I remember, yeah, that was great. I think I had the strings with me on that one as well.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah, that was from that my latest record, Mark Rose plus strings, which was a fun project.
Yes, I bought that CD that day. It's terrific.
Yeah, thank you, man.
So we're having so much fun here, Mark, with family reunion.
Back to reality.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Tell us a little bit about, you talk about educating the young people and giving back. Just curious, who's been one of your influential instructors, and
that's good.
A little bit about how you got to where you're at today.
Good question. Thanks, Carmen. So growing up in Baltimore, this is an interesting story. So when I was in middle school, or what we called then junior high school, now it's called middle school, the great Gary Bartz, who's from Baltimore, had a jazz club called the Closet Inn. And I would myself and a couple of my buddies, my brother in particular, I have a brother a year and a half older than me. He's a trumpet player, Vincent Gross. We would go down to the club on maybe a Saturday or Friday or Saturday night. They would let us in because we were underage. And Bartz would say, just sit in the back, have a Coke. Don't go nowhere. Don't do, he'd give us all the rules.
Don't talk to nobody.
Right. Don't talk to nobody. But on any given weekend, he may have a guest artist like Joe Henderson. Next weekend, he might have Woody Shaw. Then he might have Freddie Hubbard. Then he might have Cedar Walton. So he would have all these guys from New York coming down. And I remember I was sitting there one particular weekend. I think it might have been Joe Henderson's night. And I was talking to one of them. Every town has, the old seasoned jazz guru in the club. So I'm sitting next to this gentleman. And I was like, man, wow, Gary Bartz is so hip. He know all the cats. And he looked at me. He said, you blah, blah, blah. This is where you need that beep me out thing, Joe. He was like, you burr, 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 burr. He said he know all the cats because he's one of the cats. Then he said, go home and do some homework. So of course I did. And of course, the first thing that comes up is, Gary Bartz with Miles. Gary Bartz, it's like his whole list of accolades came up. So the next weekend I went down there, I asked him if I could take a saxophone lesson with him. And he was just the gracious guy. He would let me take lessons. So he definitely is one of those persons. And as a result of him, I got to meet some of the younger titans in Baltimore. Gary Thomas also being one of them, great tenor saxophonist. And so those are just a few. But, as Joe mentioned, and even in fact, in that opening clip, I equally had a love and passion, still do, for gospel music. So, excuse me. As a child,
salud.
Grazie. My childhood pastor, before in my latter years when my father became the pastor of the church, but before my father, we went to this church where the pastor was a trombone player. So he'd be on the pulpit and he'd have his trombone like on the trombone stand as he'd be preaching. And then the sermons get so good to him, he'd pick his trombone up, he'd be playing like all this bluesy stuff. not quite like that. But so it's a list of guys. And then of course, as you fast forward into my professional life, being able to meet Mulgrew Miller, James Moody, of course Jimmy Heath,
yeah,
who was such such an inspiration and an important person. I miss him. You know, in fact, that concert was a tribute concert to him. So you know, people like that have been kind of the source of my inspiration. So I draw on them in everything I do. And in fact, you know, speaking of James Moody, his widower, Linda Moody, who I keep in touch with now, formed a scholarship in his namesake that we offer to one of our students through NJPAC, through Jazz for Teens. Like we partner with Jazz House Kids and offer a student a James Moody scholarship and an instrument. So they'll get anywhere upward to $1,500 to go toward a college that they're attending and a brand new instrument. So it's like all of those opportunities again that I was afforded and meeting these great icons, but really thinking of ways of trying to take the legacy of what they've represented and make it impactful, not only just from a historical perspective to the students, but also offer if it can something to help benefit them financially as they continue their pursuit of music. So
yeah. Well, there's a question in here that's interesting, and maybe we'll connect two questions. One is, any chance you can bless us with some live playing, and two, what brand of saxophone do you play? So
okay,
let's play show and tell.
Okay. Well, I mean, I did put a read on just in case. In fact, that's a plan. I planted that person to ask the question so I could. But the brand of saxophone, I play Yanagasawa. I endorse Yanagasawa saxophones, and prior to playing Yanagasawa, I still have and I still love. I play King saxophones, King Super 20. But the real special one, King Super 20, the Silver Sonic model, which is basically a silver bell, silver neck. Faber, no, me and Faber could go on for days talking about Kings.
Yeah, we've had 3 or 4 or 5 saxophone players on, and Yanagasawa seems to be like the saxophone of the
well,
day.
You know, it is in fact because they kind of captured the sound of those vintage saxophones, but with the modern keywork and mechanisms of saxophones. So they got the best of both worlds. So I'll play, since we were talking about my love of gospel music. I'll play a little bit of.
You got those settings worked out, right?
I didn't change a thing, so hopefully this is good.
Hopefully so.
A little bit of Amazing Grace. How's that sounding so far?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
There you go. On the Yanagasawa 9933.
Hey, I got an idea. Andy, you still with us? Andy, you got your horn?
Where'd he go?
Andy's here. Come on, Andy. He went to the bathroom much.
Yeah, I think he might be refreshing his cocktail.
His cocktail, yeah.
Could be.
Got that 50-year-old scotch.
Come on, Andy. Come on board. All right, we'll wait for that.
Faber.
Let's see, Jacqueline, do you have those links for Mark's social media and music and all that stuff?
Yep, I'll share them here in the chat.
I'm looking at this note from Diane Doolittle. She says, I think I remember hearing you at a jazz improv session in Cambridge back in the 80s.
It was actually Delfeo Marsalis.
Yeah.
I played with him back then.
Delfeo and I have been playing together since college. Like, that's one of my best friends. We of course, we were in school together, probably Scullers or one of them clubs, I can't remember. But we still play together now. Like, I'm on a lot of his recordings. He was on a few of mine. Yeah, my good buddy.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Now, there's a question earlier. Someone, Glenn, wanted to know. Was it Glenn?
Yep.
Someone asked, do you play? Drums are in the background, and do you play the drums too?
I can play drums, but when I'm creating music, I get a drummer. This is my studio, as you all can see. So I have rehearsals here sometimes. So I have a drum set. I have a piano on that side, which is off camera. And in front of me, I have a keyboard. And so I rehearse here a lot. And then sometimes when I'm just trying to get ideas together, I'll play something on the drums, record it, get an idea. Then I'll send it to a drummer or my nephew. I have a few nephews, in fact, called musicians. One in particular, Lee Pearson, I'll send it to him and he'll play some drums for me. Yeah.
Yes, Glenn, Delfeo is Witten's brother.
Yep. Yeah, it's a musical family. I remember going to New Orleans on quite a bunch of occasions early when his parents were still alive. The great Mrs. Dolores Marsalis, we used to call her D, and his dad, who was great pianist, Ellis Marsalis, we used to call him E. And I remember when I would go to their home, his mom just something about New Orleans cuisine that's just, she would make some, in fact, this is a funny story. So when we were in college, his mother sent some gumbo to Delfeo, so we could have some food. And I was the only one at the time that had an apartment. So I kept it at my apartment in my freezer. So 4, 5, 6, 7 days passed before Delfeo came to my apartment. And by the time he got to my apartment, needless to say, yeah, Carmen, that gumbo was gone. I saw that gumbo. Anyway,
right, so
I digress.
I was going to say your gumbo is no mo.
Gumbo, no mo.
Exactly. No more.
So you both went to Berkeley at the same time?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It was a jazz club, I think, in Inman Square. I kind of remember.
Yeah.
All right, Andy's back. Andy, there? Are you near your horn?
I had to refresh.
To refresh your beverage.
Carmen nailed it.
I win. Do I get $50, Joe? Did I win some money?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I sent you a
Where's your
private
horn?
message telling you what I was going to do.
Where's your horn, Farber?
There's all kinds of horns over here.
All right, here's what I want to do.
Joe's got something set up for us.
Here's what I want to do. This is just spur of the moment, seeing if this works. Since we talked earlier, at least I talked earlier on that little intro about call and response. Since we can't do playing together in terms of latency, the delay that a Zoom call causes, we can do a call and response. So I thought, we got Mark, we got Andy. We can do, I don't know, maybe if Sean wants to drop in, we can do a call and response kind of thing, Well,
let me
Sean, you got your trumpet?
You guys.
Dr.
I have
Edmonds, you
horns
still
at the
there?
ready. I just need to get this reed wet because it's all wavy like. I'll put it in my drink.
There you go.
I think that ought to help.
Oh, yeah.
No, just a twist, please.
Joe, you're killing me.
I learned this from my friend Bill Easley, who used to like to keep
Sure.
his reeds wet but put them in vodka. You see, if you put the reeds in vodka, they won't grow any mold.
Oh, man, these sound effects are hilarious.
Talked to him last week.
And, as Farber's getting that together, Bill Easley and I, we worked together in the Duke Ellington Orchestras, where I first met Easley during the time when Mercer Ellington was still alive. And Farber, in fact, got quite a bit of chances to play with us then as well. And Easley was playing tenor in the band, tenor. And man, I think it was the first time I heard him live. I had known about him and saw him a few times. I think the first time I saw him, he was on a Broadway show. I forgot what it was. But hearing that clarinet, standing next to him.
Jelly's last jam. Perhaps.
Maybe it was Jelly. But hearing him playing clarinet, I was like, wow. I just kind of hid my clarinet in the back of me like, no, I don't play clarinet.
Right.
No, that's not mine. Things ain't what they used to be. Isn't that the truth? All right, what do you want to do, Faber?
Come on in closer to the mic.
What's that?
Andy.
Sorry, I didn't want to blast it out. Sorry, that was where the...
A little too close.
I turned it up for the vocals.
Just like trade fours or something.
Let's do this out of time because obviously in time ain't gonna happen. Just kind of, you know, play the one. I go to the four.
Yeah, go as close to time as you can. That's all. It's Sean. Come on, clock turn. Bring it on home.
Yeah.
Thunderous applause.
You know what? I need to get that for one of my real gigs and just kind of hit that button every time I finish playing.
Right.
I haven't heard that many applause in, I don't know.
That's great. Hey, Carmen, are you around? Got a couple of words to say?
I am around, and I have to say, what a great night this has been so far. I'm having a wonderful time. You know, you guys, I have to say, this is episode number 27, everybody. Number 27.
Wow. Yep.
A TV series, a season is 22 episodes, so we're well into season 2.
Well,
actually.
26 in the old days.
26
in
in the old
13,
days.
and then you get a renewed for 13. So 27 is like doing a pilot, and then 26.
Of course,
Well,
Andy
we're in the
Farmer would
ballpark.
know.
We're very
all of
close.
this.
We're one episode over our first season. So want to say thank you all for those who have been coming week after week. Thank you for joining us and making our show Mondays with Mooche a success. And for those who are, if it's your first time joining us, thank you for coming. We hope you will come again.
Thank you.
And thank you. Where are you from?
Sonia?
Where are you from?
New Jersey.
New
England
Jersey?
and
What
New
part?
Jersey.
What part?
Sorry?
What part?
Freehold, New Jersey.
All right,
Oh,
Freehold.
nearby.
I'm over here in Metuchen, so
Yeah.
Jersey represents. All right, we got Jersey in the house. So thank you for
It's
coming
lovely.
tonight. And so we hope you will continue to come. Share this with your friends. It is open to everyone to come. As you know, we are all dealing with COVID, but we are being very creative and we are making it. We are doing it. And so one thing that we created since we couldn't meet in person, we've got Mondays with Mooche every Monday here at 7 p.m. We haven't missed a Monday. And if you want to see our older episodes, you can go to our YouTube website, Jazz Arts Project, and check out Mondays with Mooche, and you can see all of the previous episodes, and you will see the evolution and how we have grown since. So kudos to Joe for making this a very fun night for all of us. Mark, again, thank you for your being a guest with us tonight. We have Jazz Arts Academy. Basically, we do this so that we can, Jazz Arts Project, excuse me, we do this so that we can do music education for our young folks, like Ben, who has now got a full scholarship to Berkeley, who has been with the Jazz Arts Project for a while. And then we also have a middle school camp program, which is a summer program. This year they did the program virtually. And so students were at home learning how to play instruments. And then also we will be continuing our education online for the Jazz Arts Academy coming up in this spring. So we could still use your support. So if you like what we're doing and you think we're doing a great job, please hook us up at jazzartsproject.org/donate. No donation is too small. Anything that you can contribute will be a great assistance to us. And we will continue being here on Mondays at 7. And hopefully as the season of giving comes upon us, we hope to have some special surprises coming up for you as well. So please stay tuned for that.
Well, I've got a couple of announcements, of course.
Oh, you got announcements. Okay.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Yeah, as a matter of fact. Well, first of all, I do want to thank our platinum presenting sponsor, Ocean First Bank. They've been terrific to us the entire year. And, we owe it to them really to be able to do this. So thank you, Ocean First Bank. And also our other donors, of course, and sponsors. You know who you are. We definitely appreciate your help and your donations. It helps us retain our nonprofit status and our ability to do more and more events. But basically, we're going to announce save the date for December 21st. I might as well put it out publicly.
Go ahead.
We have a special Monday show for the holidays. It's going to be aired on Monday 21st. It's going to be some kind of a live extravaganza, as they say. So save the date, Monday the 21st. And, we'll be announcing more about that in the future. Also, next week is going to be Cecil Brooks III will be our guest. And he's in California, so it'll be an interesting Zoom all the way from California. And we'll go back to Mark
Joe,
for a few minutes.
If we can just say, also give a recognition to our board members who are here as well. We've got Alan Lucas with us, one of our board members, and Stephen Hecht is hiding today, but he is here as well. We see your nice big bold name there, Stephen, and I think those are our board members that are joining us tonight. So again, they keep us going.
Ellie might be here somewhere also.
Oh, is Ellie here?
I don't know, maybe. She's sometimes lurking in the background. But yes, thank you all for coming. Certainly, we're going to go back to Mark for a little bit, and some last minute questions because we're running over time. And as usual, I will be closing down the official meeting in a few minutes. But as usual, there's an after gig hang. So if anybody wants to hang and chat a little bit or ask any other questions, please feel free.
Is this like the online Bradleys?
So, yeah, that's right.
Remember Bradleys back in the day? The hang.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's always an after gig hang.
It's online Bradley's, but without certain features.
Well, I brought my own feature. You know.
There you go.
That's not the feature I was talking about. I'm talking about Bradley's office.
Right,
you might be interrupted by Officer McKittrick.
Oh, right. All right, so sorry, back at you, Mark.
Yeah.
You know, we have some business to take care of, so that's...
No, business is important. And again, I'm with you in terms of thanking those folks, because I think, you know, it's important that we acknowledge them in the work that they do to enable us to do the work that we do. So, I mean, take all the time you need to give them their accolades. I know they don't do it for that pat on the back, but it's always nice to recognize the joint work that goes into these kinds of things. So
definitely appreciate that. Yeah. And you know, I can tell you that you know, when we get back to it, we'll have you at one of our live events, certainly. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope it comes sooner rather than later. But for now, we'll hunker down.
Well, and whenever it comes.
And you know, who knows if this thing works
and
out.
what I like to
go ahead.
No, please.
I was going to say, if this thing works out in December that we're going to do the live event, maybe we'll do, you know, one a month or one every couple of months as a live performance streaming as well. So we'll see. Absolutely.
And I was just going to mention too, in terms of live performance, my next one again is going to be, I mentioned, down in Baltimore. So you can find that information if you go to either my Instagram page or my Facebook page or my Twitter page. It's going to be at Andai Music down in Baltimore. It's going to be on November the 27th, the day after Thanksgiving. So you're welcome to join me there, and you can see us perform live.
And of course, you know, you can connect by Facebook or Twitter to Mark. I'm sure there's some links somewhere to if you want to buy your music.
Yes.
Your CDs. We didn't mention you do have CDs out there.
Yep.
Some very critically acclaimed CDs, like I should say. So take a look for that, and take a look for him online as well. Are there any last minute questions in the chat here? Thank you all for a lovely hour.
Oh, we should have one question. Anybody want to open their mic up and throw a question out there? Alan, you look like you got a question there. I see your face. So. You sure?
Well, I'll say to everyone, I thank you all as well for coming and supporting tonight, but you know, supporting again what this wonderful Monday with Mooche is all about. So,
and we'll be talking more, Mark, in the days to come. And good luck with all your ventures and adventures.
Yes, right.
And you know, let's just keep on keeping on.
There you go. You too. All right, my brother.
All right, folks, turn on your mics and give Mark a round of applause, and I'll help it out here.
Lovely.
Thank you.
It's a great night. This is a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks, folks.
Have a good night.
Good night, Sonia.
Bye. Thank you.
Everyone, be well.